Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy and I help people with their breakups. And today I'm going to review the book How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne. The full title of the book is How to Be a 3% Man Winning the Heart of the Woman of Your Dreams. And I've been asked to do a review of this book a few times. I think I get grouped in with Corey sometimes because we're in the same industry of coaching. I think he does a little bit more business stuff too, but a lot of things with courting women. I'm more on the breakup side, but I've read the book. I've taken notes from the book. I've actually went back over the book twice. I wouldn't say I fully read it again, but I take very good notes when I read a book or I listen on an audiobook, and I actually prefer audiobooks. But this particular one I used on Kindle and took quite a few notes, and so I thought I'd share them with you. And I think it's a good book. I think it has a lot of value. It overlaps with a lot of other stuff that's out there. I like Corey Wayne. Nothing but good things to say about him. I don't follow the exact same path or journey he does in his coaching. But if someone wants to compare me to him, that's okay with me. And this book review here, I'd say, is more on the positive side. So I'm not even linked up with Amazon or something like that for you to buy the book through me, but I still might put a link if you want to buy it, and it might have some value for it, and I hope these notes help. And I'm not sure how long this is going to take, but remember, it's just notes I cut and pasted, and then I'll touch on it. I haven't gone through it, and this is a good way for me to brush up on the book also. And if you like me doing book reviews, please make a comment in the comments, and I'll continue to do this because I'm very well read in psychology and relationships. And I've been thinking about doing this for a while, sharing books, because a lot of times at the end of a coaching session, I will recommend a book or two and send a link. So let's get right into it. All right, so like I said, these are notes, so they're not complete sentences sometimes. I cut and pasted some of them. I made plans right then and there on the spot. Tip. This is the part that I was getting at. When a woman asks you out or suggests that you go on a date, it means she has a high level of attraction for you. So, good tip. I think that's a little bit obvious, but okay. Physical contact is another indicator of attraction a woman has for you. The higher her attraction, the more she will want to have her hands on you. So I think that a lot of people know this, but they forget about it. Just a light grasp on the hand or on your back. It's subliminal and it's something light, but she's showing that she's interested in you. She feels that you're a safe person to be around also, which is attractive. An important tip is to treat a woman like a lover always, never a friend, or she will assume you are gay, weak, lack confidence, etc., and generally not a catch. I think this is a bit strong, but I think if you're in the courting phase of meeting women, obviously if you're married with kids or something, then you wouldn't be looking for this. But the fact that you'd be considered gay and weak if you don't treat women like a lover, I could see that. I could see where he's coming from. But what if you just thought of her as a friend is the other thing. But I think what he means by this is just to practice treating all women in the same way, and you'll be better at it, if I'm correct. I later learned that it is a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. He talks about this a lot in his videos. So, the mystery, the imagination, I think that's self-explanatory. I focused on my new business and personal growth. When I felt ready, I started working on myself. So this is about him focusing on a purpose. Studies show that people retain only 7 to 10% of what they read after reading it. So this is why Corey Wayne talks about reading his book 13, 14, 15 times. I haven't seen the research on this, but it certainly could be true. What you fear, you attract, but what you look at disappears. I no longer feared beautiful women and was completely centered and a confident man. So yeah, when you fear, you focus on that fear, and it's just going to hurt you and paralyze you in a lot of ways from moving forward. It's all about carrying yourself with your chest out, your head back, and a feeling of being proud of yourself. Posture and body language is a big deal, and I know times in my life I've had bad posture, and I know looking back right now, I would suggest to you out there, think of a time in your life when you had that, where you put your chest out and your head back, and you were really proud in some moment, and why you felt that way, and the reasons for feeling that way. I remember I got a really good job when I was about 21, and I was wearing a suit, and I was working in the city. Felt like I was, looking good, looking nice. And I felt, all of a sudden, I straightened up. I put my chest down. I was walking around. I felt really good about myself. I felt well dressed. I felt, I don't know if it was clean shaven because I've always had a little gruff, but I felt good about my job. I felt good about working in the city. So a lot of that is where you're at in life too. But posture counts. Attraction is not a choice, as David D'Angelo says. So I think what he means by this is some people know if they're, some people, they don't say like, oh, should I like them or should I not like them? They just know. I think that's what he means by this. You will see a woman be excited to talk to a guy, but within a few minutes, she's trying to get away and he has no idea. You can verify everything I teach by watching men and women interact. It's fascinating to watch people. You will see a woman be excited to talk to a guy, but within a few minutes she's trying to get away, and he has no idea. You can verify everything I teach by watching men and women interact. Sure, I mean, there's a little window in between there, and then if you just kind of are like, hey, how you doing? How's work been? And it's a boring conversation, it'll just go nosedive very quickly. I should say she was talking so much, I let her do 80% of the talking, and I just kept asking her questions. That, by the way, is how you remain mysterious and cause women to be even more curious about you. Okay, yeah, this is true, I think. Asking good questions and listening, women really like that, and the fact that you let her do a lot of the talking. Women like to talk. They like to pour out their feelings, and if you I would add to that, create good rapport and have good follow-up questions. Big thing for me is like you're listening to what they say, and they say, oh, I always went to Lake Tahoe in the winter to go skiing. Oh, really? You went to Lake Tahoe in the winter to go skiing? How often would you go? Or what was your favorite part about going to Lake Tahoe? That's a follow-up question based on the answer. Romantically interested in you by the end of your date. I don't know why I cut that. I knew how to continually read her attraction level and how to see the signs when I was becoming too complacent in the relationship. Okay, that was one thing I took. Going from being each other's best friend and lover to no longer speaking is not being loving, in my opinion. It just seeks to hurt the other person. Many people feel that trying to hurt the other person will make them feel better. I think that what he's saying is when going from being each other's best friend and lover to no longer speaking is not being loving, in my opinion. I think what he means by this is, so the first part, I think sharing your feelings with each other when a relationship ends is very helpful and important to the healing purpose. The purpose of an intimate relationship, in my opinion, is to love each other and to help each other grow. I agree with this 100%. And become more. You're there to meet each other's needs. The whole purpose of a relationship is you go there to give. The only thing we lost when our relationship ended was the physical intimacy. I think if you break up on good terms, absolutely. But if you break up on bad terms, like someone cheated on you or really hurt you, or you're having trouble with the rejection, then that's the time for no contact to heal yourself, not to hurt the other person or be angry with them. You just need some time away to work on yourself because you're not dealing with it well. Scroll down. Once guys really understand women are able to get into a relationship, they will eventually realize that, like I did, that every relationship is an opportunity for growth. Sure, I would say that's true. I would also say every relationship's a bit different, but sometimes we fall into patterns, and that we have to realize when we're falling into a bad pattern with people that are creating toxic relationships. A lot of people, oh, I'm so unlucky. I always meet bad guys that use me and always ask for money. Well, there's a pattern to that. That didn't just happen. Where are you meeting them? What are you accepting as okay behavior? You got to roll in that. They can help you to understand the type of man that you are totally capable of becoming, even become that man. At the same time, you inspire and help her grow into everything she is capable of becoming as a woman. If the relationship reaches a point where it is no longer an opportunity for both people to continue growing together, then it's time to move on. Yeah, this is actually a great quote. I'll just, if the relationship reaches a point where it is no longer an opportunity for both people to continue growing together, then it's time to move on. And this is why, I've talked about this before, high school sweethearts and someone you were with in university, and you think like, oh, we had such a great relationship when we were in school and when we were in the university because you had the same goals. You were trying to graduate, you had the same working hours, you both had teachers to deal with. And now if you get into then you get married, she becomes a nurse, and you become a truck driver, and you just can't relate to the fact that she's working night shifts and helping people, and you're a truck driver and you're kind of a rougher type of guy, and it might just grow in different directions. And to take it a step further, let's say that the guy's a truck driver, and I use truck driver. My father was a truck driver, my grandfather was, so that's why I'm using it. That kind of job in some places, where can you grow as a truck driver? A lot of times you're staying in the same place. Don't get upset if you're a truck driver that's grown before. I'm just giving an example. Where a nurse, she can become an ER nurse or a lead nurse or maybe a doctor eventually. If she keeps moving up and you're not moving up, it's going to bother you, and it's going to affect the relationship. When you meet someone whose soul isn't aligned with yours, send them love and move on. Dr. Wayne Dyer, I've done all the hard work and spent many years on this. Okay, so very simple statement if you ask me. When you meet someone whose soul isn't aligned with yours, send them love and move on. Simple statement, but difficult to do. Difficult to do. I think a lot of people try to change that alignment rather than accept it. Excellent is not a singular act, but a habit. You are what you do repeatedly. Yeah, your habits form who you are, and you have some bad habits probably, and you have some good ones. And the minute you realize you have the bad ones, you got to work on them. So let's get to the next part. I just let her talk and I listened. I have found that women love to talk. Men just need to learn how to listen. Believe me, gentlemen, there is a right and a wrong way to do this. So let's just unpack this a little. The art of listening that we will be covering later in the book. Finally, she asked, why don't we go to lunch this week? I jumped right on that and set a date. That was another thing I did right without even realizing it. I made a firm commitment for a date and then left it at that. So a lot of times, sometimes we do too much talking, and just to set a date and go, yeah, I'll see you there. Keep it short, sweet, quick. The strongest negotiation position is being able to walk away and mean it. Michael Yon, what is the quickest way to gain someone's attention? Remove yours. That's part of the no contact. That's one of his quotes that he uses a lot, and I agree with it 100%. The strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. Absolutely true. And I mean, if you've ever been to some area in the world where there's someone, hey, excuse me, you want to buy this, hey, and they're following you down the street. Have you ever experienced this? And you're like, get away, get away, get away. And it gets to a point, no matter what they are selling you, you don't want to buy it because you're just so goddamn annoyed. And a lot of times you don't realize when you break up, you're that person going, hey, I love you, I care about you, hey, listen to me, hey. And it's just like a mosquito in the ear at some point. And then he says, what is the quickest way to gain someone's attention? Remove yours. Great statement. It's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. Most of the time, women won't, this is a repeated statement, won't call you and ask you out. They simply call to say, I had a great time the other night. I was thinking about you. Hey, this is really random. So they're fishing. They won't go, oh, do you want to go out tomorrow night? And you got to catch on that. And then they proceed to talk about innocuous subject. They're waiting for you to take the lead. That's my words. Women like a guy who has options with women but don't rub it directly in her face. When you are with a woman and she knows or assumes you are not dating other women, just make her feel a little more special than the other girls you are talking to. Good statement. When a woman sees a guy with a woman, especially another beautiful woman, she wonders, what's that guy got? Women are very competitive in that way. That's absolutely true. Even if it's just a coworker or a friend, they're wondering, I know she's kind of interested in him. It makes you more attractive. But they also want to engage in the chase. Dating is a full experience of emotions for them. They don't want everything dropped in their laps. They want to feel as though they have earned your love and that you have earned theirs. It's a give and take, but they want to engage in the chase is absolutely true. So as the feelings being unclear and you being exciting and surprising is a big one. When women do not feel that you love them or love them enough, they will feel hurt and often become bitchy and resentful. So if If you've ever been like, oh, she's been really bitchy recently, she's upset about something, she's just not saying it to you directly. Women are very indirect in their feelings sometimes. Those are my words. In essence, all you really have to do is simply say yes to their advance. If a woman is chasing you, she can't be getting rid of you. Why chase women when women not only are dying to chase you, but they've been training, conditioning, thinking, feeling, and acting as a pursuer of masculine love and presence their whole lives. Men who chase women get rejected because the very act of chasing a woman is submissive, feminine quality. Plus, it simply will not feel right to a woman if you chase her. If you do, she will become flaky, unsure of things, and confused. Do you feel like you're chasing? Ask yourself that question. Are you in one of those modes where you're desperate, clingy, or needy? That's chasing. I've already said it before. If you are not growing together in a direction, then maybe you need to consider going in separate ways so that you can continue to grow. The quality of your life is a direct proportion to the quality of people you consistently spend your time with. That's something to think about. This has to do with your 5 friends that you hang out with most. You're the average of those 5 friends, most people say. And really, this is a simple statement also, but if you take inventory of who your friends are, a lot of times they have similar outlooks. And if they're friends you don't really like, then you have different outlooks and you're hanging out with them and it's conflicting to your growth, actually. And of course, your partner's one of your best friends and the highest person to influence you. Have you ever noticed you've been in a relationship before? And I'll give you an example. When I was in real estate, I got my real estate license right out of college. I took the test. My ex-girlfriend, within 3 weeks, she never had interest in that. And she was like, oh, I'll just go get my real estate license too. You know what I mean? Oh, well, that's possible. He did it, and that's helping each other grow. But it's also, it rubs off what you're doing and where you're headed. All you have to do is go to the mall, to a public event, or to a dinner, and just look around at the other couples. Half of them are sort of staring into space, and they are not talking. I've gone to dinner and seen couples where the husband is reading a magazine, the wife is reading the paper. They are just kind of present. They are hanging out as roommates. They probably haven't had sex in years either. There's nothing there in the relationship. I see this all the time. And I think it's different in every case. Some people accept those roles and like that comfort level. That's what they yearn for. They yearn for comfort. I'd say my parents are that way. My dad's one of those that just likes to be comfortable. He likes his newspaper in the morning, doesn't like too much drama. And so, is that my ideal relationship? No. Do I think people get stuck in those kind of relationships? Yes, but it only becomes a problem when you feel it's a problem. So if you feel like I'm bored out of my mind, I'm miserable, I'm depressed, then you got to take the reins and go, I can take action on this. And the flip side of that is your partner feels that way and you don't. That's when you usually break up or get a divorce. Women just want to show up for a date looking hot, have fun, and have the man lead things. Absolutely true. And you got to catch yourself sometimes. If you're a nice guy, you go, oh, you want to go here? You want to go there? No. Hey, I got a great place that has the best strawberry shakes in town. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. This beach is probably the best beach that you've ever been to. Oh, where is it? Don't worry, I'll show you. And this is what Corey Wayne likes to talk about, the mystery and unclear, but take the lead. And to take that a step further, I've had friends that are really good with women, and they do. They always take the lead, and I see it in them. Women just want to be able to go out, relax, completely get in their feminine side, and just let the guy take control, total control. I don't know if all women like total control. There's an exception to this rule. If you like dating strong-willed, confident women that have higher positions in society, they might give you a little friction on this. But I would say majority of women, this is true. All a guy really needs to focus on when dating is hang out, have fun, and hook up. He says this all the time, and I agree. I think it's a good outlet. Hang out, make a definite date in the evening that can potentially lead to having sex at her place or yours later in the evening. Have fun, keep things funny and positive with no complicated situations or subjects. Just do something fun. Hook up. Go for it. I think a lot of times, he said go for the kiss. Kissing leads to heavy petting, which leads to you saying something like, hey, let's go out here and grab a bottle of wine and go back to my place. I think a lot of times guys are scared of that end part of the rejection. I think if you go for it and get rejected, then it's polarizing. That's something that Mark Manson in the Models book talks about. You didn't lose, you didn't get rejected, you just figured out she's not interested in you guys hooking up that night. And that's okay. Stop, say, all right, it's been a good evening, and move on. The masculine energy is all about purpose, drive, direction, and mission in life. The masculine energy is also about breaking through barriers, setting goals, and getting through them. So I agree. Purpose, drive, direction, and a mission in life. It's huge for men. This is talked about in The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida. Touches on this quite a bit in the book. Women want to be noticed. Everything they do is about getting your attention. That's why it is so important to understand this. One of my most recent testimonials from a friend who told me I saved his relationship. His girlfriend was doing everything she could to try and get his attention. All she wanted to do was feel him. I told him your sole purpose for being in that relationship is to give to her. So you either need to give to her or go out and get yourself a hooker. That's extreme. That way you can have a transactional-based relationship with no emotional attachments. Once he understood that, he realized everything she was doing, the clothes she was wearing, the hair, was all about her saying, I want to feel your love. I want to feel your presence. Okay. Let's go to the next one. When a woman stops doing those things, she's basically closed herself off from you. What he's saying is she's giving you the signs that she wants more attention, that she wants to be noticed. However, I can tell you from my experience that if you take the time to understand your woman, she will help you to make that healthy, loving relationship effortless. I don't know if relationships are effortless. Okay. All right. Again, it's all about knowing who you are, knowing what you want, and being in your center. He's right here. Yeah, I agree. And understanding your woman. Coming back to your center, I call it neutral. I call it being stoic sometimes. Stoic means showing no pain or pleasure. So you give a woman the space to fall for you and come to you at her own pace to the point that she thinks it's her idea. When a guy meets a woman, he will often start right in about having a relationship, dating, where he's going to take her out on a date and so forth. To the woman, this is a complete anti-mystery. The man doesn't have to have her information yet, and he's already telling her everything he's going to do, where he's going to take her, and what he likes to do with women. This does nothing to build any anticipation. He's laying himself in her hands like an open book. Here's everything there is to know about me. It takes away all the mystery and challenge from her. So this goes back to him saying, let her do more of the talking. Don't give away what you're going to do on the date. Don't give away everything up front. Allow her to talk about herself more, I believe is what he's saying. When you tell women everything that is going to happen, it's like telling a friend the ending to a movie that has not been seen yet. It kind of spoils the movie, right? When you first meet a woman, your goal is to make her laugh and feel comfortable. You need to talk to her. Better yet, you need to engage her in talking to you. Ask her questions, get to know who she is. Keep the conversation light and positive. Joke, banter, tease her in a playful, non-offensive manner. Treat her how you would treat a bratty little sister, even though you give her a hard time. She knows that deep down you really love her. I think this is just playful joking and teasing and, not falling all over her. And it's not, especially beautiful women, I think, or women that get a lot of attention, they don't want to hear about it over and over again. It creates no challenge, and it's boring. They already feel confident and know they look good. If it's a needy woman that needs attention, then she's going to want to hear that she's beautiful more often. But the ability to joke around and be playful, that's just a human thing overall. You should be friendly to everyone, everywhere you go. Treat all women the same. Why? Because repetition is some other skill. Excellence is not a singular act, but a habit. You are what you do repeatedly. I agree with this 100%. Be nice to the lady at the coffee shop, even though you're not attracted to her. Give her a nice compliment and move forward. I said this to someone recently that was saying he was bad with women. I go, well, are you, I'm trying to meet him in a nightclub. Well, I said, when you're in a cafe and some lady's helping you behind the counter, go, oh, I really like your necklace. She said, oh, my grandma gave me this necklace. Oh, that's a really nice gift. And then keep it moving. But you're just practicing being nice, giving a compliment, maybe a little bit of flirting with most women, and it'll become more of a habit. Success depends upon previous preparation, and without such preparation, there is sure to be failure. Confucius. Only approach women who are friendly, smile at you, and make mutual eye contact. Wow, this is really a simple statement. And like I said, it's very difficult if a woman's not willing to be friendly, smile, or make mutual eye contact to get a read that she's even interested. I have, and Mark Manson in the book Models, which I'll review on a separate video, which is a book I really like. It's so simple, but some guys are attracted to women, go up to them in a cold energy from these women, and they don't even make good eye contact with you. It's going to take a really good game and some kind of diversion to help that out. Has it worked? Have I made it happen before? I have, actually, and I talked about that in another video. But you're better off with someone that's being friendly with you, a smile, and to make mutual eye contact. Here's what I will say. If it's someone you work with or go to school with and you're in regular contact with, they could just be having a bad day. They could be sick, someone was sick in their family, someone died. So don't just think one day that happened, because 3 or 4 days later or over time, those people that become familiar with you, that could change. But in a cold situation where you're meeting for the first time, yeah, it's probably not a good idea to go up to someone that's not being friendly, smile, or has eye contact. They simply do not have the time to worry or think about women with mediocre or low interest who are not responding to them. So, women simply do not have time to worry or think about, They simply do not have time to worry or think about women with mediocre or low interest who are not responding to them. So it's just like, if you get rejected or you're not getting a high level interest, just move on and accept it. It's okay. You checked it, wouldn't work, okay. You only want to spend your time dating women that have a high level attraction to you, and you can feel this. By the way they look at you, their eye contact, are they interested in you? Do they ask you some questions eventually? If you're sitting there, prodding and pushing and trying to make them attractive, what's really unattractive is if you're trying too hard, or like he says, chasing. If your wife or girlfriend is uninterested in sex or always has trouble getting wet, when before she was always initiating sex and always dripping wet, anytime you put your hands down her pants, this is a sign of a woman who does not feel safe and comfortable in the relationship. It means that she may be angry with you, have low interest, and you may have done something to hurt her. So, it's a giveaway if she's not into sex. It doesn't have to do that she's not aroused. There's some other issues deeper into that. A man is responsible for the environment and the direction of the relationship. After all, a man will penetrate his woman physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. If he has stopped courting her, there's financial stress. Financial stress is a big one. He argues with her or simply does not know how to break down her barriers when she is upset. She will shut down to him emotionally and physically. She will lose her interest in sex. So there's a lot of reasons to lose interest in sex, and it's not all physical attraction is what he's saying. More about later section. The way you get her attraction level to go up is to be humorous. And some people think, I'm not very funny. You can work on that. There's ways to work on that. Have fun, show her a good time, and keep it positive. And if a woman can't get positive, she's in a bad place because of her job, because of her family. And I've been there. You're being humorous, you're being positive, and it's not being she's not being receptive to it. It's probably not you. It's something else going on in her life. Always maintain eye contact. Keep your focus on her when you are on a date. Don't be checking out other women, the waitress, or whoever else is around. When you do that, you make her think that you are a pig, just another horny guy that's out to get something. The same date from a woman's point of view is going to go something more like this. He took me out on a date. He was attentive to me. That's worth a point. He didn't check out that beautiful waitress, even though she was sort of flirty with him. There's a big point. He referred back to something earlier in the conversation. That means you listened. That means he actually listened to what I said. I gave him 2 points for that one. I felt so relaxed and comfortable with him. He even made me laugh. That's another 2 points in my book. I actually feel as though I could trust him more now that I'm getting to know him. He is definitely doing the right things to raise my attraction level. If you want to win a woman's trust, gentlemen, and ultimately her heart, you have to understand how she thinks. So you get that point scale. When was the last time you saw a cat take commands from anyone? Women are like cats. They come and go as they please, and you must let them. If you don't, you will destroy their level of safety and comfort with you. They do what they want, when they want, with whom they want. You can call a cat, but it will only come to you if it feels like it. Many times they will give you that bored, sleepy stare that says, Who do you think you're kidding? Cats look around a crowded room of strangers and will go to the one they feel comfortable being with. This is so true. And the one they know for certain will give them the affection they want. Like the cat, she is drawn to the one that seems to be the least affected by her. I like to make eye contact with a woman and then keep it until she looks away. I will not be the first to look away. Only the most confident women won't look away. Those are the ones I'm personally interested in. Staring women down. Always build anticipation. Avoid falling into routines. Don't go every Friday night and take your wife to dinner. Try going out one week on a Wednesday night and do something different. Skip a week and take her out twice the following week. Always keep her wondering. Add spontaneity. Leave her curious as to when the next surprise is going to come. Never tell women what you're going to do. Let them discover it in real time. This gets back to keeping it unclear and a little bit of mystery and imagination. This really keeps women's attraction high for you. You give because that is who you are and you expect nothing in return. However, you need to always watch what you get in return and decide if it's acceptable to you. Give your gifts from love. Love never requires anything in return. It is in the giving that makes you feel good. True love does not have attachments. Great quote. Great quote. Good preaching, Corey. My contribution is to make her laugh, make her feel comfortable, and make her happy. That's it. Make her laugh, make her feel comfortable, and make her happy. Sounds simple. The feeling she feels while she is with you is what she is going to associate with you. This is a great line because when she's thinking about when you're going to call, she's going to remember that funny joke or how she just felt comfortable around you or how you made her happy. People remember how you made them feel. If you're one of those people that's jealous or controlling and they associate with that with you, that's a complete turnoff. Some women stay in those relationships because it's familiar to them, but that's not where you're going if you're reading this book and following this advice. When both people are focused on simply giving to the other person and not worrying about what comes in return, the needs of both are going to be fulfilled regardless. It is in the giving that needs are fulfilled. I said this before, but it bears repeating. Once that guy really understands women and is able to get in a relationship, he is going to realize that every relationship is an opportunity for growth. Absolutely true. You can understand and become the type of man you are totally capable of becoming. One of my favorite speakers, Tony Robbins, says people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. Great quote by Tony Robbins. I agree. Okay, if I don't change all the things I have been doing in the past, here are all the consequences. This is a good exercise to think about yourself and write it out. If I don't change all the things I've been doing in the past, here are all the consequences. For example, with breakups. If you're stuck on one moment or the breakup, what's the consequences long term? You probably won't meet another woman. You're blocking off that door to meet someone else. What are all the painful consequences of not changing your behavior? Write them all down. If you do not change what you are doing, what are all the negative, painful things that are going to happen? Very good exercise. For the other category, consider what are all the pleasurable things that can happen if you change your behavior. This is all the good things that can happen in your life. Along with your list of your perfect woman, you need to review this every day. Wow. All I have to do is ask questions and keep my answers to the questions that she asked me positive, lighthearted, be funny, be humorous, get her to laugh, and just have a good time. If you're not good with banter and humor, or you're just starting out, stay away from sexual innuendos. Why? There's a really good chance you will say something stupid and create an awkward moment. You want to banter back and forth and always respond to her tests with playful humor. I discuss this in detail on the many articles and YouTube videos on my website. If you're already in a relationship and you have to start dating her again and treat her like you did when you were courting her, she will fall back in love with you and everything will fall back into place. I don't know if it will all fall back into place. I don't know if this is a one-size-fits-all because there are outside issues going on. If you already are in a relationship, you have to start dating her again and treat her like you did when you were courting her. The exceptions to this is if she's seeing someone else or she's lost complete interest in you or her values have changed. So this works. This is a good statement. But I would have to read your story on writemac.com to give you my take on that. Okay, this one. pulls me away from his guy because I don't want to talk to him anymore? Is she standing extra close? Is she bumping into you when you are talking? Is she touching your arm when you talk? Is she playing with your hair? Is she exposing her neck to you? These are all signs that show her attraction level is a 5 or higher. If you ask her for her phone number, she doesn't hesitate at all and gives you her number. That is a good indication that her attraction level is a 5. An attraction level that is below a 5 is basically the opposite of all those things I just mentioned. She doesn't ask you personal questions. She doesn't ask you what your name is when you say, this is a big one. Have you ever talked to someone and you say, oh, what's your name? How you doing today? And they just start talking and they're a little cold and they don't even ask your name or how you're doing or what you do? That's when attraction lacks a little bit up front. They should be asking about you a few things. The key is that you don't want to get hung up and hold attachments to one particular lady until she does all the things right to warrant you devoting all of your time and all of your energy to her. Guys will meet a woman. I have news for guys. When you start dating or even when you first meet somebody, what you want now and what you want in a year from now may change. Absolutely true. You may decide you want something or someone totally different. Sometimes a relationship just runs its course and it's time to move on. And this is true to your partner too. It's not personal. I say this a lot. Look, this person wasn't personally breaking up with you. They changed their values, their outlooks, their mission, their purpose. The place where you always want to come from, not only when you are in a relationship, but also before you have met someone, is not to take rejection personally. This is so difficult. You have to go through life, give your gift, give your present, give who you are. People are either going to accept you or not. You can't take it personally. It's a numbers game. Great quote. If a woman is nasty to you, she could be testing you, or she could have had a bad day. I've mentioned this earlier. Maybe she doesn't want to be approached. Keep in mind that you are a strong, centered guy. She just threw a big barb to you, and you deflected it. You dealt with it. It's water on a duck's back, as I like to say. Masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, achieving goals. You said this before. In this case, I've actually told a woman, I'm sorry, I must have the wrong number. I'm only going out with women who are saying, oh, yes, I was wondering when you were going to call. So this is a playful way of joking. As it drops, she will start testing you more and more. If it is her saying, hey, step up, be a man, totally capable of being the man you're totally, she will accept nothing but your best. It is imperative to understand where a woman's attraction level is at, because it is the key to developing your radar, that intuitive sense of knowing. At some point in the relationship, you are going to become complacent. It happens to us all. It even still happens to me. It happens to me also. I'm with you, Corey. Wow, I've really been messing up with her. My lady is no longer in love with me, and things aren't going that well. At that point, you have to turn it around quick and do all the things that made you successful in the first place. A good weekly communication exercise you can do with your girl is to keep things going well, is to, he suggests a video here. So I don't know what that video is. For the guys that have been married or have been in a long-term relationship, it means all those things you did in the courtship. Being your own man, building anticipation, being completely unpredictable are necessary. This is not only when dating, but also when you are making love with your lady, as we cover in a later section. I didn't know this was so long. Let me see how many minutes. Jesus, 38 minutes. This is a long review, isn't it? You become comfortable with yourself. You make it part of who you are. Sooner or later, you own it, and you have to own it, because if you can maintain it later in the relationship, if you ever let that down, then you are not the person she thought you were in the first place. She will see weakness, test, and pull away. This makes you start to pursue her, which drives her away even more. Learn how to read her attraction level and make it a natural part of who you are. A good way to know if she is ready to be kissed is to look into her eyes while she's talking, or you are talking, then gently look at her lips, and then up at her eyes, and then back at her lips, and then back into her eyes again 4 or 5 seconds. If she looks at your lips anytime when you are doing this, it means she is thinking about kissing you. Be the leader and go for it. Women just want to show up for a date, look hot, and follow your lead. If she is wondering about you, she will like you more. If your attraction goes up high enough, she may eventually call you again and want you to start chasing her. Having women pursue is the ideal place that you want to get to. Women may say one thing, but her attractions are saying something else. The woman I had noticed the day before started asking me all kinds of questions, joined the movie discussion, and my attraction actually started going up. I thought, this girl is really charming. There's something about her. He's telling a story here. Put who you are out in the world and accept whatever comes back. Great statement. If you love any other way, it is attached to needy love. Really, real love is none of these. Don't apologize for who you are. That's my words. Don't talk about your future because you will lower your chances of being in it. Let her be the one to bring it up. You need to make it her idea. You have to become comfortable with being yourself. You need to make it a part of who you are. Sooner or later, you will own it, and you have to own it. The strongest negotiation position is to walk away and mean it. He said this earlier. The masculine position is all about purpose. Women want to be noticed. Okay, I'm going to end it there because this is quite long, but there is more to the story. I think this is a total of, it's a long book. He put a lot. The last thing I had, another thing that should be common sense is don't try to keep someone who doesn't want to keep you. In other words, don't pursue a woman who is not reciprocating high-level attraction back at you. This is a cornerstone of all this information. Always continue reading her level of attraction on you. That's a great statement, and I agree 100%. When a couple breaks up, often one person or both people walk away and hate each other or are mean to each other. The great thing was that we loved each other so much that we didn't want to lose what we had. He's talking about a relationship that he had that ended on a really good note because he said they were so connected. So, if you're interested in how to be a 3% man, winning the heart of women, the woman of your dreams, go for it. Those are some of my notes I shared with you. Like I said before, I endorse Corey Wayne. I like his approach. I like what he has to say for the most part. The book has some good stuff in it. You could judge for yourself by those notes that I read. And I'll put a link. I'll put a link to Corey's website. A lot of people would say that would be a bad thing, but I support him. I think he's a good dude. I've never met him before or chatted with him, but I've watched quite a few videos, and if you want to check out his book, go for it. If you want to visit my website, writemac.com, and tell me your breakup story, that would be great. And I also do one-on-one live coaching, which has been going really good lately, and I have less and less openings, but you can book a session with me at writemac.com. And if you found this video to be of value to you, you can also make a donation or make a donation after I make a video for you. Okay, I hope that helps you out there who is wondering about the 3% man. And if you're interested and you found the notes to be good, please follow up and buy his book.